Đừng đâu là đó, Yuk san đừng đâu là. Tashideles, everyone, good evening. Okay, so I think so. How we begin? You like to ask questions about his own Dongyal Rinpoche, or I just tell what I remember?
Totally. Just tell what you remember.
Yeah, what I will tell, then maybe you can ask and discuss, and then also, and also maybe Anne Lauren can talk too, because she met his own Dongyal Rinpoche in 1976, I believe, 66. Ever since that, until he entered Mahaparinirvana, she been working with him and helping and support his centers and being long time with his holiness. So I think Anne Jomo Lauren can speak too a little bit. But however, first I will begin. Okay, and his holiness Dongyal Rinpoche is one of the great masters in the 20th centuries, and he was a famous writer, poetry, historian, and then also great Tertums. And he was predicted by Gorpema Sambhava in 8th century that is the upcoming of his own Dongyal Rinpoche in the 20th centuries. And how he said, Gorpema Sambhava He said, in the future, nine, in, 9 glacier mountains passed from eastern direction, where there is beautiful hidden land by the hidden land of the Vajavarahi, which means Black Tuma or Tuma land, and they in the that has secret center area, there will be the child, beautiful child will be born in the cline of the in the royal cline, and his name will be Wisdom on Jana, and he will be, his manner will be like child. Same time he will be great master who will protect the teachings of the old teaching. That means already established teaching. He will protect and support that. And at the same time he will discover in the Dharma teachings. And whoever contact with him, they all will go to the pure land of the Ngurapema Sambhava or the pure land of Ngurapema Sambhava. That's what really predicted by Ngurapema Sambhava in the 8th century and upcoming, like his Holy Dongyal Rinpoche. And so that exactly follows from the east direction of the Samyin. 9 maybe glacier mountain, must be more than maybe 9 glacier mountain, and then his Holy Dongyal Rinpoche was born in the center of the Pemaku, and known as the Terkonings. Even I had, or our family had the opportunity to visit that place, and even our family stayed. My family stayed in that Terkon, the birthplace of his Holy Dongyal Rinpoche, over 2 or 3 months. I think about that we stayed there. And why he said that the Guru Masama predicted he was born in a royal climes. Royal clan indicated that is descended from the same clan of the King Tsewang Dongyal. This history goes back to in the Tibetan history, in the 9th king of the Tibetan dynasty, that and had some troubles, and then 3 brothers, young 3 brothers, escaped from the palaces. They went to the eastern directions. Each of them settled different areas. Those are known as the 3 princes, known as Chate, Shate, and Nyate, the 3 of them. Particularly this Chati clan was settled in the Po regions, Po, which means the west side of the Pemaku. Pemaku lies like between Tibet and India, is like Himalayan regions, and so that is very topical area. That's what really Pemaku is. So the Po is just the next door. It's not tropical, but it's. I always thought Pemaku, that Po area is like what's called like Georgia. I'm sure you've been Georgia. Georgia is really, I thought that, because there's so many peach, so many walnuts, and also kind of like similar climate, but of course in that Po area, a lot of mountains, big mountains. So they settled in that area, in the Po areas. So His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche's father was a descendant of the Kanam Gyarpo, the Kanam Gyarpo of the Po area, who are descended from the same family, same line of the King Tsewang Dongyal. That. And his father's name is known as Jampar Norvo, and he was bachelor, but he was recognized as a renowned Turko in the Pemaku areas. So didn't really marry it, but he went to Pemaku where his predecessors used to stay, and taught, and then he come back to his family in the Po, and then he go back and forth. That's what I heard he used to do. And then one time in the dream, the father had that dream that you go to the more southern Pemaku, and where you will establish the temple or the monastery, and also you will meet your connected Dakini or the concertos, and that will bear the child, and he will become the one of the great masters or great bodhisattva to benefit to many beings. So he had that dreams. Then he with that dream, and some other lamas also indicated that. So he came back to Pemaku, and then he started moving kind of toward more south. and he came to the same birthplace of His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche. That place known as Terkone. He moved there. He stayed there, and then around that time he has the dream, and soon you will have the child, and so one lady came in the dream, and soon you will have the child, and that child name should be this should be the name of a child. And she said that she gave the Dorje and a ritual mirror, melon and a Dorje. And so she gave that and put his in pocket. She put that in his pocket because in Tibet they wear chubas. I think many of you know the chuba. Chuba kind of naturally created like this. I believe like this. That and she insert put inside the pocket. So then he woke up. And then he met one young lady, and she was also descended from the Great Tertung in Yingma Tertung, known as Rena Longpam. She is a descendant from Rena Longpam, descended from the Rena Longpam, and he met her, and they become couples. And soon she was pregnant, and then His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche was born, like around, according to the time that he was born. But however, just before that, how that happened in his teaching said, the Dongyal Longpa, the former His Holiness Dongyal Longpa, that always telling to all his students, Tibet will not have good times, and everyone should go to the Pemaku. It's not really a good time. And then at that time, the Dongyal Longpa wrote letter to King of Povo, the Kanam. His own Dongyal Rinpoche is like grandfather of families. Grandfather who was grandfathers wrote letter. And this particularly one, the Kanam Deva, that they had one also, I'm sure the children, but one of their daughters become very well known nun, like she become nun. And she received that letter, and then she wrote back letter she was kind of like keeping in charge of the family, maybe she's powerful. So she wrote back to Dongyal Longpa, told the police, your great teacher, if you come to this area, I will provide everything. If you come here, I will support everything necessary. So he received that letter, and the many former student of His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche, the predecessor or His Holiness Dongyal Longpa student, often told His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche himself that the Dongyal Longpa received that letter from this nun, and he often read that again and again, and she said, oh, if you come there, I will provide you every necessary things. So he was really very pleased by that. And also she sent one ring, and the Dongyal Longpa, the moment he got the ring, he tried to put to his end of his finger, it couldn't fit. He tried to put it to middle finger, it didn't fit well, and he started putting to the ring finger, he fit exactly, perfectly as arranged, it fit there. So he put that there, and often he read the letter again. Oh, this nun, Anne Dangsar, her name is Anne Dangsar, told me that she, if we come there, she will support to everything. So we don't have to concern that. He really very much pleased at that. So that's it. So, but however, then he told to all his students, you should all go to Pemaku, I will come. So many students, disciples, really began to leave from the eastern Tibet to Pemaku areas. They all started leaving, and they thought their teacher is coming. And then middle of the road, then they heard Dongyal Longpa is kind of like passed away or entered Mahaparinirvana. So many of them feel kind of really disappointed that. But however, still they thought this is the teacher's wish, we should go to the Pemakus. So they gradually kind of moving forward. But meantime, then His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche was born in Pemaku. Pemaku, with the same, descended from the same, that family, Karamdeva family, but with his father, Jampar Norva, his name was Jampar Norva, and his mother's name was Namjar Droma. So he gave the birth of his son, the young baby. In the 10th day of the year 2004. No, sorry, not 2004. 1904, sorry. 1904, and according to the calendar, 6th month and the 10th day. 10th day he was born. In the morning he was born. That time his father, Nyambal Norvo, was that Kangim Troko. He was a teacher and reincarnated Lama. He was not there in home, and she gave the birth. And according traditionally, then she invited to local Ngakwas. Ngakwas performed the ceremony of the birthdays. And he was born, his own as Dongyal was born 10th day and the Sunday. Day was a Sunday. So then because of that, this Ngakwa, these two Ngakwas give him name Nyima Jamsin, because he was born in a Sunday. Sunday is the Tibetan named as Za Nyima. So Nyima, and he was born in so that day, Nyima Jamsin. Victory banner of the Sunday. That was his name, his baby's name. Soon after, then his father came back from the trips to home. And mother explained how the baby was born, and as well as she invited that Ngakwas and gave the Dharma name and all those names and all that. But his father said, "Oh, that's really wonderful. He got the name, but I got this baby's name before he was born, previously, and so I got the name. So I'm going to give that name." And he interpreted that was Meryl. This Meryl represents wisdom, and Dorje I'm going to live as a Dorje. So therefore, as a Dorje, and therefore I'm going to give the name Wisdom Dorje or Yishi Dorje. Yishi means the wisdom, primordial wisdom. Dorje is a Dorje. I'm a Dorje, indestructible symbol. So I can live. So his name becomes Yishi Dorje. And so his own Dongyal Rinpoche told me when he was young, and everyone kind of called him Truko Yishi, the incarnated Lama Yishi. So that was his name. In the meantime, when he was born now, but his students who coming to Pemaku they arrived at Pemaku, kind of just entrance the Pemaku, and there they met very famous teacher in that time, also great Tetong, known as Jedong Sambam Yuni, a very famous teacher and master, and he belongs for the head of the Rinpoche monastery, and he was a Tetong, and his name is Jedong Sambam Yuni, and very famous. So this his disciples, or the Dongyal Rinpoche's former disciples who were coming to Pemaku, they went to see this Jedong Sambam Yuni, and then Jedong Sambam Yuni told, now you should not delay go to the Pemaku directly, because your teacher was already born, took the birth, and you go to there and be with him and help and support, raise him as a great teacher. You all should go to this. Don't delay, go quickly to meet him. And he said that, and he wrote beautiful long life prayer to young his own Dongyal Rinpoche, Troko Yishi. Beautiful long life. And so what is he wrote? He wrote this Jedong Sambam Yuni gave to name his holy Dongyal Rinpoche Jigdar Dechi Dorje. And which that we have calling Lama Pa when you joined. There is like that Sambokaya Lama, I call Dechi Dorje. So that Dechi Dorje was given by this Jedong Sambam Yuni, the famous master. We give Jigdar Dechi Dorje. So when this student, all this former student of the Dongyal Rinpoche began to coming close to his hometown, And the young Dongyal, I think this time his only Dongyal which is already now maybe 1 or 2 years old now, already 2 years. And that few days before, that he's telling to his parents and as well as others that we're going to have big gas, very important gas, and please make the preparations. Said. And they really thought they're not expecting any guest. Why he's talking that? But he's keep talking that we all should prepare preparation. We're going to receive big guests. So then he sent talking that for a few days like that, and everybody thought because Sensei is really quite a remarkable, not just an ordinary baby, must be something coming, something. So they prepared some degree of the preparations. And in the afternoon, around the afternoon, then many pilgrims was coming kind of carrying the luggages in their bags, and many groups are coming, or many people coming, and the young Dongyal round the top of them even they called their names, and you've been long time to see me, something. And everybody was so moved by the calling their names, and even in it said that he called in the Ngolo dialect, because the former Dongyal was in Ngolo regions. Even he speaks some Ngolo dialect. So then this student has no doubt this is the former reincarnation of their teachers. Really completely moved, completely become so devoted, and ever since they become his assistant, tutor, and then helpers today. And among that, very renowned teacher, or one of the renowned disciple of former Dongyal Longpa is Ling Lama Chumgyal Gyamso. Ling Lama Chumgyal Gyamso was in a way the teacher among their groups, and who become the tutor to His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche. He observed his guidance for many, until 10 or 12 years. His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche really was continually nourished and helped and supported, and they brought up him as good stages. And they taught how to read, how to write, and they started also giving the philosophical teachings. So that's how His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche was born in that Pemaku areas. And then also so one time that there is so first Lama Chumgyal Gyamso, he appointed one of his disciples known as Pontrele, I think, or something. But he being so devoted to the young Truko, the baby, he hardly say anything to do this and that. So his own Dongyal Rinpoche himself has told me that he was kind of spoiled by him, that he didn't really read or anything, didn't really progress anything. And one time, Lama Chumgyal Gyamso, the head Lama, came and he checked how much he learned. He didn't learn too much. Young Dongyal didn't learn too much. He said, this is not going to work. You're not going to work. And he said, I'm going to appoint a tougher student to be your tutor. And his name was Lama Khedab. Lama Khedab became his tutor. Lama Khedab is not like him. He always really so punctuated. If he don't get on the time to practice, and if he don't get started writing or the starting on the time, and exactly on the end of the kind of whatever they made the schedule, he still have to stay. There's no way that he can escape. And many times he hold let small sticks, small stick, and stand with him, strong baby. So he said he hardly had any spare times. He have to really stay with that. And one day, this Lama Khedab was busy sewing something, he said. He's not sewing, and he have other one assistant. They all sewing something, and Lama Khedab told to young Dongyal, the baby boy Dongyal, said, you have to start it today. I will be busy, but you have to start it this much today, and tomorrow I'm going to check. If you don't study, I'm going to really make you remember. Me remember. Yeah, he said, you have to study. So they've been busy with sewing something. And his own Dongyal Rinpoche told him, young time, he kind of even he said that, he didn't pay attention. He's pretending he's studying, but he's doing something kind of looking different, imitating, he's reading something. So he completely didn't really pay attention. Next day, then he came exactly as he said, time, and hold the stakes, and then he's asked to read, because he didn't start it at the day before. So now really he couldn't read thoroughly very well, and he was so strong and stalling. You didn't start it all that, and the more he did that, he became little more nervous. But however, he suddenly just started reading. He said he just started reading, chanting that, and there is one section that he never, Lama Kheda never taught to him, and his own young boy never read before, but somehow he read those all, and there's many things that, like sometimes they make what's called abbreviated. For example, like this in the Tibet they make this offering prayers, Argam, Pandi, Pupi, Dipi. Sometimes they don't really write because it's standard prayer to everyone, so they don't just write that. And like that, there's many of those, and his only Dongyal Rinpoche read everything, young baby. And Lama Kheda, they said that moment, Lama Kheda was completely shocked. He dropped the stag on the floor, and he came to in front of the young boy to the 3-post station. His tears are coming from his eyes. He said, "I'm sorry what I did to you, and sorry." And then he said, "Today you don't have to study. I will give vacations." So he got the really day off that day. Then his own Dongyal Rinpoche, his teacher, the head teacher, Lama Chunja James, told to him, "Now your son Do Tripchin, Father Do Tripchin was very famous, one of the very famous masters in the Nyingma history, in Nyingma Buddhism in that time. Father Do Tripchin, third reincarnation of Do Tripchin. He was a son of former Dongyal Lungpa's son. So referring to that, your son gave the excellent teachings on the Bodhicharya Avatara, guide and way in the lives of Bodhisattva when he was 8 years old. Now you are his father. He's indicating it's Dongyal Lungpa, reincarnation of Dongyal Lungpa. You have to give the excellent teaching on the Bodhisattva Charya Avatara of Chobal in Tibet, and guide the way in the lives of Bodhisattvas. In your age 7, you have to give excellent teachings. So you have to start now Chonjo, Bodhisattva Charya Avatara, and when you reach to the 7 years old, you are going to give the teachings to the audience on this. This your son did when he was 8 years old, but your father, you have to give on 7 years when you're age 7. So this, he said that he prepared, he got the tutorial, and he been studying this Bodhisattva Charya Avataras. So he's been studying, and then so that day came. The day came on the age 7. Age 7 happened, and when they did big preparations, and made thrones, and all the audience and everyone came. Now they put his own the young boy on the throne. Now you have to give the explanation, the teachings on the Bodhisattva Charya Avataras. Charya Avatars, first 4 chapters. You have to give the teaching. So his own Dongyal Rinpoche went on the throne. He said he started, and he really did. Everybody was pleased that you did really well. And soon after, the Lama Chunja Jamso gave him the conch shell. Now you go outside, blow this conch shell in 4 different directions. Go out and blow the conch shell in 4 directions. So the Lama Chunja Jamso gave him the conch shell. And his own Dongyal Rinpoche told me that he was so happy because since he's a young kind of boy and give the conch shell and go out and blow, he kind of really excited to do that. He carried it joyfully. He walked outside. He blew the conch shell out in the east directions. Hardly came any sound. When he blew the conch shell east direction, did not came sound. And when he blew the conch shell in the southern directions, oh, it came so beautifully. Kind of like it just echoed. Even they didn't have to blow. Like looks like this sound is really like bursted, so beautiful. when he blew the conch shell in the west direction, again, then he comes so good, but better than east, quite good. When he went to the north direction, he blew the conch shells. Again, the north came so good, good. So then he came back and offered the conch shell back to the Ling Lama Chumya Jamsum. He said, okay, the Turko, the beneficial activity will not be great to the eastern direction, but that's okay. Your predecessor, the New Lungpa, did well to that direction. But your beneficial activity will do very well in the southern directions. And west you will do also good. Since you're doing very excellent beneficial activity to the south and the north, west, even you didn't do the north, maybe you won't do too much, that's still okay. So then you did really well, he said. He said that kind of prediction as that, and he accepted back his conch shells. So that is briefly his story, of life story of his own Dongyal Rinpoche when he was young. Then in young time, his own Dongyal Rinpoche, usually his Dongyal Rinpoche was so humble, so simple. He never really hardly say anything that indicating he is something special, reincarnation, any of those things. But occasionally he talks those kind of like little bit suddenly without kind of like any asking or something. Sometimes he said that. So that he has many times beautiful dreams and all that. But around the age 7, he got he's playing with 4 or 5 young girls playing. I think it seems those girls are not really human girls. It's like what's the Dakinis girls. They're playing, playing with them and playing. And that moment, then his own Dongyal Rinpoche also received the beautiful kind of like he said he found that in the near the river of the Pema, the southern Pemaku, in beautiful really black stone, like maybe these sides round, but when you look this, it's exactly like sun and moon shape. That on the top of the stupa, that sun and moon shapes. And when you touch and shake this inside, that it's hallowed, making kind of little sound inside. And some student of his own Dongyal Rinpoche told me that is really the key to open the door of the Dharma teachings. So every Tertong has generally called Terje Demek, key door to the Dharma teachings. So many indicated that is his keys. And I had the opportunity to see that, and some also began to shaking. I did not have the opportunity shaking that, but some other student or his own Dongyal himself shake is really making noise that, and he didn't say that it's Dharma, but it's beautiful beautiful looking. And around that time, then he has a vision of his Gorupe Masambhava and as well as the Western Rakan Ishim Soja, and they completely give they enthroned him as a great Tertong of the time, and honored, and they give the name as Dongyal Longpa, Dorje Dongyal Longpa. That was his name, so one of his names. There are 2 names, so give that. So then he began to having so many different visions and the Dharmapalas, and as well as and many teachings from Gorupe Masambhava, and as well as many other great masters in the vision and teaching. So that's how he was grown up, brought up as a young Dongyal. And then around like age 20s or early in the late 10s or early in the 20s, then he went to the very famous monastery in the central Tibet of Nyingma schools, Tibetan Buddhism. Many of you know Mendelling, Dorje Mendelings, and he went and started there. So he became the expert of all the teaching. And then he did all the Tibetan Buddhisms like philosophy, astrology, medicines, and as well as a poem and all those things. Really, he became the one of the great renowned teacher and scholars of the times. And so that is really my talk of his own Dongyal Rinpoche, is how it started. And then he moved more. He's like in the middle ages. He moved to the central Tibet in near Khenpo area, and then Khenpo in the particular there's the Khenpo area called Lama Lama Ling, I think Kung Lama Ling, right? Kung Lama Ling places, and he stayed, and then he built the Copper Glory Mountain, Samdopari monasteries, and as well as then he began to giving the teachings of the Rinpoche Tenzo, and the teaching said that he started giving the Tenzo teaching when he was in the early 10s, that he gave the first Tenzo teachings, Rinpoche Tenzo empowerment teachings, and and then he gave many times the Rinpoche Tenzo teachings one after another, and then he came to the in the late 50s, 1950s, or the middle of the 50s, he came to India, and then he become around that time, or become the head of the Nyingma schools of Tibetan Buddhism. He become the really teachers of all the great masters, teachers of the Tibetan Nyingma Buddhism, as well as many Kajus. So he become one of the great really masters, teachers, and he was continually great writer, great Terdum, and then he, as you all know, then he became one of the great masters. So that is really my brief talk of the former Dongyal Lungpa, or his own Dongyal Rinpoche. If you have some questions, we discuss, and then also Annie Laurie can talk some. Yeah.
I actually 2 questions. One is, what was he like as a person? And second, I'm just curious if you were with him when he would discover the Terma. What was that like?
Paul, I mean, he was he was really just a humble family man. When you with him, it's not anything kind of like he's acting as he's a very great teacher or the masters, and really anything. He's just so humble and so simple, and down to the earth, and so respectful for everyone, really that. So that was his really personalities. He's also very gentle looking, and peaceful looking, and very calm, and so that. But then, and then I discovered I'm not there. I mean, he discovered that. But however, in one of the teachings said around age 34, he came to southern, and he came to Bhutan, and that's really kind of his story that I talk. Again, how he discovered. I mean, that was written by himself in the colophon of the Buddha Rupong. Buddha Rupong is one of his great Dharma teachings of the Vajrakalaya, Buddha Rupong. In the Buddha Rupong, when he transcribed that teaching in the colophon, that Buddha Rupong in the teaching said that, how he was. So he's doing retreat in the Tiger's nest in the Bhutan, doing retreat, personal retreats. And one night, or one of those nights, and one beautiful young lady came in the dream, and appears Yishin Soja. But one lady came, and appears, or the same she is, in the feeling of his own Dongyal himself is Yishin Soja. She came, and she pulled his arms. She said, wake up. He pulled up, and then she pulled out from her pockets and one purpa. Many of you know purpa, right? Many of you know purpa. He pulled. This is the real purpa, personal purpa of the Gurupe Masambhavas. When he is departing from Tibet, and when I went to his farewell to the Kontang Pass, Kontang Mountain is, I think, Tibet and Nepal border, and so in his stories, that many Tibetan devotees, king and queen, princess, Ngapa, and order and monk, so many went as farewell when Gurupe Masamba to the Kontang Pass. That in the standard his story says. But in that dream, when I went to the farewell to Kontang Lato, at that time, Gurupe Masambhava pulled this and keep this to you. I give to you. Now I'm giving to you. Now I will give you. And moment she handed that to him, he was over excited. His own Dongyal Rinpoche said that in the day. He was overly excited. He kind of pulled him from her hand. Moment that, and that moment he feel, oh, I have to receive the blessings. So he touched it to his forehead and the speech chakra and the heart chakra. When he reached to the heart chakra, that moment he truly become Vajakalaya himself. Feel that that upper part of the body is like as his himself body, sorry, lower part of the body become the like. It's okay. Thank you.
I think
No, this is okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is okay. Thank you. Lower part of the body become the like purpa, and that whole universe or the world is really sparking and shaking, song. And that moment, that young girl said, that is true empowerment. You receive the true empowerment. That's it. And you remember how you receive the instructions at time of the Gurupema Sambhav. Remember that. And she said that. And then after that, he woke up in the dream, truly woke up, and he remembered all the past memories clearly, and all the entire teaching of the Vajakala is completely appeared in his mind, or the Western mind. So that's how he discovered this Buddha reform teachings.
Did he, when he had that dream and he woke up in the morning, did he tell you? Did he?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't told me personally that. But I read that in the book.
Right.
That is a book. That's it.
Wow.
So that's it. I mean, that is just one of the vision that really you mentioned that, or the one of the dreams that. But usually his Dongyal Rinpoche, as I said, he really never say those things. Is in the Buddha teaching, you said, keeping up your inner realization, call it as like stone of the ocean.
As what?
As a stone in the ocean. Stone in the ocean. Stone, S-T-O-N-E, right? Stone of the oceans. According to Tibetan conception, stone of the oceans hardly will see. You won't see, but the stone is there. Similarly, your realization of the spiritual realization, you must keep as stone, like a stone in the ocean. Ocean. So His Holiness really, truly, He is like that. He never kind of proclaims this and that things. And of course, all the other great masters, he said he is a reincarnation, he is this and that. I mean, truly he is. He was. But himself, as I said, he's so humble and so simple and down to the earth and so respectful to everyone, and that's it. And I will tell one other stories of that. It's a true story. I think women say that how he is so kind of like what's called so gentle and so peaceful. He have no kind of bipartisans, this and that. Really, this. In Tibet, when we got in India, of course, all the refugees. In the mid 60s, everyone talking, we have to be united. Tibet have to be united. And they said, because we lost the country, because we don't have to unite it. We have to unite it. How we unite it? We have to unite everything. Our religions and as well as our way of thinking. Tibetan history, I mean, according to Tibet, kind of like, what do you say? Tibet has 3 regions. Upper region, middle region, and a lower regions. Many times I'm lower regions. Lower region is like Khampa, Amdo, and there's a Golo or the Khampa, Amdo, all those areas we call the lower regions. They say that we are Khampas or we are Amdos. That they say that partition. In the middle region is like we Zangs, or we are Zangba, kind of more kind of high class, kind of like more Eros characters, more kind of educated level, kind of way they talk. Upper region is like this near Monte Kailash region, so all that. So they have kind of some degree of the like, oh, I'm this area, they have very distinctive attitude. So now we have to merge all together. We should not say those things. We all Tibetans, same thing. So why we call that? And then also we should be united all our dharmas. So that means we say that I'm Nyingma, I'm Kaju, I'm Saja, I'm Gelo. But why we have to say we're all Buddhism? Just say we are Buddhisms. We just say that. So then when they start talking that if we become the all same Buddhism, what Buddhism we will do? And they start talking, we do Galopas. so people didn't really like that. I mean, that's what we heard in the street. I'm in the street, so I don't know exactly what is going up there. There was there. So, how we can become all Galopas? Galopas, because in Tibet, the Galopa kind of in a way rules the whole systems, political systems, and also they influence the politicals and the religions and all these things. We're not going to become all Galopas. We're going to become what we are and going to say that. And also we're not going to become all same like region and all those way they're talking, but exactly what they want is because they like to kind of strengthening or like kind of develop or trying to awakening the Nyingma and Kaju and such schools, and that's what really they mean. I mean, that's what rumor people getting around in 1960s. And Tibet is really poor that time. Of course, still poor, but that time is really poor. But still, that rumors are coming. And then they created a different society called Chigdar Sopa. Chigdar Sopa means united society or united groups. Chigdar Sopa. And then there is another sopa called Sokap Chuksam. 13 groups joined together as a 13 first status of the America. 13 status. So that. And everyone trying to get them kind of those renowned teachers and a renowned person trying to get their side is asked to please would you join to our group? So they're all coming to their different places. So then this united group came to his only Dongyal Rinpoche, asked, please, would you join to our, as a part of the members or our part of in the group? And his only Dongyal Rinpoche said, yes. Said he signed and he joined with their groups. Then other group, the 13th group came to his only Dongyal Rinpoche and also asked, if you will you join with our groups? And he said yes. And he signed. That's what I heard. I mean, I don't know exactly. Really, people say that, because he joined the part, he don't have any part. That's not. I mean, truly, his own Dongyal has no part. He loves to everyone. I mean, he don't like to take part. I mean, he just like to stay as a normal, simple, and humble, and a very beneficial one. So that is how his own Dongyal was. Yes.
What was your relationship with His Holiness like, and did he train you, or were you already trained when you came to him, or what was your relationship like?
My relationship with him, of course, the student, and I'm one of the disciples, really disciple. I mean, he has hundreds, thousands of disciples to all over the Asia, and then I mean, Westerns, everyone. So I'm really considering I'm one of those, just like that. But my relationship came because I was very devoted to him. And at the beginning time, I was not so devoted, very kind of beginning. Even though I heard his names in Tibet, and my father knows that. But when we got in India, and more kind of seeing his all the beautiful activities, the way he's kind of behaving, then I'm being very much become devoted to him. Really, I'm very devoted to him. And then I attended to many of his teachings. And then always, also he's been very kind to me. I mean, he's kind to everyone, but he's been very kind to me. And so that's really how that. And then also I had a lot of kind of health troubles when I was young. And so one point maybe many kind of my father and Khenpo Tsewang Dongyal, they all thought maybe I'm going to die. And his own Dongyal Rinpoche asked to him to do prayer. He did pray. He sent telegraphs. That time there's no telephones, not easy to telephone in India. India, the mostly kind of the fast emergency, what you can send is letter, they call the telegraph. So his own Dongyal you send like long telegraphs that unless he already passed away, then that's it. But otherwise, he's not going to pass. Not cry. And then he said, and my brother Khenpo Tsewang asked where he should go, and he said, that go to Dorje. Go to Dorje, and then he said, don't worry, I'm praying, so that, and so then I become really devoted to him, and he was also very kind to me so many occasions, and then also so that's really my kind of relationship.
And was your brother too?
Yeah, really true. He was very close connected, and because his own Dongyal Rinpoche asked him to become or go to the Varanasi, that all the gathering, all the scholars at that time in 1965, his own Dongyal Rinpoche is head of the Nyingma school, so he told to Khenpo Tsewang Dongyal, please go to that group. So they all the four schools of Tibetan Buddhist great masters or the Geishis and Khenpos there, that my brother went to there and take the part with that as representing Nyingma. And then in 1967, the Center Institute of Tibet started in Varanasi, part of the department of the Sanskrit universities. As his own Dongyal Rinpoche asked, also he become head of that department for 17 years. So I mean, he was really very closely working with his own Dongyal Rinpoche.
I had heard that when Dorje was getting towards the end of his life, that his students came to him because he had a reputation for being strict, very strict, and wrathful. And they said, please, Rinpoche, when you come back in your next lifetime, could you be kind and gentle?
Yeah, I heard that too. Really, I heard that. I think that could be. But his own Dongyal Rinpoche is really very humble, very simple and very respectful, very polite, very polite.
Rinpoche, but at one point you became His Holiness's personal assistant. You were like his.
Yeah,
sort of like Lama Lorraine is with you. You used to serve him.
Yeah.
How old were you when this happened?
No, that really, I did a little bit in India, but when I got in this country in the 1980s, then really I become, he becomes, so I've been like his assistant and also like his secretary. Corresponding secretaries and all that. So really the 1980s, for many years, I've been like his secretary, assistant, and also his wife, his own Dongyal wife, was very kind to me, really kind to me, and the supporter, always kind and helping, and just so both of them, through their kindness, I had a really great opportunity to serve an assistant or my capability as offerings. Really, I had, and the blessing, receive the blessings.
Rinpoche, I had also heard that in this eon of the 1,000 Buddhas, that the very last Buddha to come will be His Holiness Dorje Rinpoche.
That's
that true?
Really true, and that is like you the pray that you join that praise. That is a chirap sondi matagi tuma, of that garland of the succession of his lives or his Dongyal Rinpoche, that is translated. And there say that clearly. At the end, the last the Buddha of the 1,000 Buddha is known as Mipan Namze or Mipan Thai. Is that Mipan Thai in the teaching said his own Dongyal Rinpoche will be as that time as Buddha Mipan Thai, and then the Mipan Thai in the teaching said the activity of the Mipan Thai will become he will have them activity with the 1,000 Buddhas activity, all that merged or carried by the last Buddha, the 1,000 Buddha Mipan Thai. So that Mipan Thai is the really last Buddha, but yet is so powerful, so strong, and so pervasive, and benefiting so many beings as much as 1,000 Buddha did. That much said. And then also in the teaching said that too. His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche will become also will take the form of the Kala Chakra or the king of Shambhala, and they're also going to benefit to subdue the negative forces. In the teaching said that too. I mean, those are the teaching says. So that's how His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche. Maybe you have some stories to tell.
Well,
Yeah, tell.
it's a long
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Well, one sweet story is Khenpo Rinpoche didn't mention it, but I'll tell you about the first time. I think it's approximate, but the first time he heard about Dorje Rinpoche, and then the first time he saw Dorje Rinpoche. So the first time he heard, they told me that he was with his father, I think in their summer camp, and a Lama had come to town who was a friend of Lama Jime, his father, and he'd come to town, on his horseback and everything, come to stay. He'd just finished a pilgrimage in Lhasa, and so he'd come back, and they were sitting chatting, the father, and having tea, etc. And small Khenpo Tsewang, probably 6 or 7, then was sitting by, and the father asked the Lama, "Please tell me about your pilgrimage, how was it?" And all he would talk about was the young Dujum, the Tuku, and he was telling how wonderful he was, and that everybody was, astounded by him, the Jigdel Dorje. And so that was when Khenpo Tsewang first heard his name, and I'm sure the seed was planted at that very moment. But some years later, I think probably, well, it was after he was 11 or 12 or so, he attended a teaching by Dorje Rinpoche Wong, actually. And so this time he saw, and he was, you can imagine the young boy sitting in front of the throne and watching Dorje really closely and being enthralled by him. And one part of the puja came that they had to dismantle the shrine, and there was a chief Chirpon, a very wonderful Chirpon, but somewhat, stable and strong and very, determined to execute Dorje Rinpoche's wishes. And what happened was he was to dismantle the shrine and then reassemble it for the second part of the wall. And so in doing so, Dorje Rinpoche asked him to disassemble the shrine room. And he was passing what he thought was the offerings to the community, the Sangha, the rest of the Chirpons. And all of a sudden he's taking the Thomas down, and he looks around and no one's there. They're all excited and they're all talking to each other. So the Chirpon takes the Thomas and he starts to throw them. He's lancing the Thomas in the air. And Khenpo Tsewang said he looked at Dorje Rinpoche, he was sitting there just chuckling, and his face was all aglow.
Yeah, really true. That was like,
moment.
yeah, really true. Yeah, really true. This from Bhutan, this Chopon is very famous. One of the famous disciples of his on Dongyal Rinpoche, but he's very big man and big and tall man. And I think it's a short temple too. Short temple. Because his on Dongyal Rinpoche is saying you have to do fast quickly. So he's trying to do fast, but then his on again saying you have to do fast. So then all his assistants in a way kind of disappeared. He started throwing them. And then I looked to his owners, what is the, he laughed and then he turned his face. But I heard that when he passed away, this Lama, so beautiful, like signs. Really, they said, he told that he's going to now sleep and don't worry, and all that he said, and to his wife, his children, to his disciples, and then he actually really went to sleep, and then that's it. And when he was like completely stayed in a meditation status, or like, and his complexion is so beautiful. There's a rainbow light, and then they cremated after maybe a week or 2 weeks. There's a rainbow comes. I was so surprised, really, like where he told to everyone goodbye, and he said, "I'm going to sleep. You all don't worry." And it's just really one again another famous beautiful stories and very touching and moving stories.
How old was he?
I think he seems old, because when I saw that time I was maybe late 10s. That time he was already kind of grown up, very big man. So this was maybe 15, 20 years ago that he passed away or something. So I think he's really quite old, already old.
And Rinpoche, when did you meet the Yangtze? And could you see His Holiness in the Yangtze?
I really that I did not met the Yangtze from the Tibet. I didn't met, but I met Yangtze from the Bhutan.
Yeah.
Bhutan, that I met quite few times. But everyone says that Yangtze from Tibet is so wonderful. really so wonderful, so beautiful and amazing. His activities and his teaching styles and his knowledge is just marvelous. Everyone said. And this Yangtze from Bhutan also is really beautiful. I met few times. His what's called picture is really same as like his on Dongyal Rinpoche. Very much. I can perspective that because we had the opportunity to be together in a ceremony when his Holy Dongyal Rinpoche wife or Sam Koyo passed away 3 years ago, and so he came for the ceremony, and I was there too. We're doing ceremony, and every time I'm looking to the photo of his Holy Dongyal Rinpoche and looking to him. They're not related. The picture, that's really so similar, so similar looking. And this also really this Dongyal from Bhutan is also really very humble, looks like very humble, very polite, and very simple, and so really just really beautiful, very beautiful. Yes,
I
please.
was going to tell a story locally about His Holiness when he was here in the early 80s in Eugene, which is now Saraha. The church is the center of Saraha. And he gave there were about 14 women that had not been able to produce a baby. And so he brought them privately into a room and gave them special blessings, and only one didn't have babies, and one is my nephew, and then I just met another gal in Canada that was one of those babies.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I mean, these women tried for years to have babies.
Oh, really?
And then Rinpoche gave this whole line of little tissue stamped.
Right, that's it. I think we have the stamp somewhere, actually.
Oh,
You know
and
anything?
baby.
I mean, we have to find it.
No, we don't not claiming.
He would give, it was a mantra roll, and it was a small impression of what would you say it was? It's a seal.
Yeah, seal, sai in the Tibet.
And they would swallow it. It was on a rice paper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, really true. Wow, that's it.
And then I don't know much about the stories about him, but I thought it was very interesting that Dorje Rinpoche's attendant, Nobu, he was called, and I heard the story about when he first met His Holiness, and they must have been in
Pimako.
Pimlico,
Yeah.
and he was doing Kora, this young Nobu, around, and His Holiness called him and asked him if he would like to do something to help him. And he ended up being with him probably 60 years or maybe even longer. And he ran his monastery finally in Nepal. And what would they call Lopon
Norbu.
Norbu. But that's how it started. And then he would always be sitting under his throne or in the back of his throne. And he was from Pimlico. They would speak together in their language. So it was interesting how they met.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. So that's His Holiness. Yeah.
I have a question, Rinpoche. So you were with him during the time he was in the United States.
Pardon?
Right? You were with Dorje Rinpoche during the time he was in the United States.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Did he give you any sort of like very broad instruction for what he would like to do in the United States, or specific instruction? Just like sort of in general sense for the, if you call United States like a mandala of Dharma, what he really think is good to accomplish here, or how to do that, or?
No, definitely he has a great vision, hopes of the also United States in Europe. Really, definitely, that's what he also really stayed quite a long time. He also, for example, when I came here first time with my brother in 1980, I came to California, and then we met His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche. But that time already His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche is in New York. But then in May he came to Berkeley or San Francisco by the invitation of the Paspag Yishinyumko under the guidance of the Venerable Jeffrey Rinpoche. So he came to San Francisco, and he gave the teaching at that time. And again, of course, we went every his teachings. And then so His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche told to my brother Rinpoche, he liked to, if he have time, he liked to go. He told to my brother, His Holiness really liked to him to go to New York and Europe to teach, because there's many practitioners who are interested to study the teaching and very deep the meaning of the Dharma. So he really wanted him to go to New York. And then also afterward he told me that I should go to New York. I mean, he has big, really good vision and a good thoughts about the North America or the United States, and as well as Europe too. And he did not give any personal instructions, but he give how to do or what he thinks. But he always also mentioned how he really liked to stay us with the Yeshinyamko, his center. Center. So we stayed, my brother and we stayed in Yeshinyamko Center of the New York until 1987. We stayed about 7 years.
That's when His Holiness passed.
That His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche entered Mahaparinirvana beginning of the 1987. So then, end of that year, then we resigned. We resigned with the Siam, His Holiness Dongyal, the wife, and so, but we stayed that.
He came to India early, didn't he? In the 50s, yes?
Yeah, he came at the mid 50s, I think.
And did he know, did he foretell or did he know what was going to happen to Tibet?
I think so, really he knows. He knows because many of those great masters really knew. They left early. They left early, and His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche is one of his songs, sang the songs that just before his leaving from Lama Ling in the Khenpo Tsewang area, that center with his monasteries, he said that I and the Tegel, I will leave these places, and I and the Tegel, we don't have to have a permanent place to stay. Wherever there is forest, that is my places. I'm happy to leave. And I don't remember exactly, but I and the snow lines, we don't have to be permanent place to stay. Wherever Glacier Mountain is our homes, I will leave. And he said, dragon and Garuda, those one after another. So the way his songs, so that means he's not going to stay in the area where he used to live. So he's happy to leave. That's really said the song.
Anybody have questions or?
Could you talk about the writing of the Nundro, and when he wrote the Tercer Nundro, and were you involved in that?
No, I'm not involved to write that. But he wrote that quite early. That Nundro is actually, that short Nundro is the Tenma teaching of the former Dongyal Lungpa. Dongyal Lungpa's Tenma teachings. So it's not completely this incarnation wrote that. But he clarified it. He clarified all those different visualizations and those footnotes. Those are this Dongyal did.
And he did that in Tibet or in India or
in Tibet. In India or in Tibet, I think. Yeah. In early, I think so in mid 50s, definitely, I think.
Beautiful.
Rinpoche, isn't that a short version of the Tsewang practice?
It's a
It's a
Khenpo
very
Tsewang,
long
isn't it?
version of that, right?
There's a long version. This is the part of the general part of the Khenpo practices. Khenpo Thukte has his own, but this is the general Khenpo practices, and then longer practice of the Khenpo Thukte is longer one, and which is long is not that long, but it's similar as like Nyingteng Khenpo. Similar.
Similar to the need.
Pardon?
Could
It's the same size of the maybe Longqing Nyingteng Khenpo. This longer one is maybe just about the same size.
But isn't also chut practice?
Where?
The Tsewang Dongyal?
There is like a brief Chuk practices at the end, the dedication and the Chuk practice and aspiration prayer are combined together, as his own Dongyal Rinpoche, his own footnote said. It is a combined of those all together, and it's very brief. thank you. Okay.
Rinpoche, isn't that where now my body possession is the root of my virtue altogether? I give
Give
without
that's
clinging.
it. That's
the
it.
truth.
That's the true practice. That without any kind of holding back, I give that is really part of that true practice. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. Again, thank you. Okay,
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Three children, that so I don't good consider. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Short story.
Uh-huh.
One
Yeah.
more short story.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the cover of the book. It said, can I show everyone? I was going to Sikkim, and Khenpo said, if you're going to Sikkim, really you should probably go to Darjeeling and Kalimpong. And, Dorje Rinpoche, of course, lived there for many years. And he said, there's a photographic studio there that used to be there called Om Studio, Om. And so he said, if you go there, please go and see if it's still there. So I went and I couldn't find it, it was closed, but I walked around and shortly after I found out that there was an Om studio that was a little further over the hill, and I went inside and there was a young woman, and from behind the curtain appeared the photographer who had been around in 1950 and had taken the photographs. And so I said, well, my teacher's writing a biography about Dorje Rinpoche, and I just really wonder, is there any way, could you possibly have any photographs? And he said, and he was sort of, taken back, and then he said, well, how long are you here for? And I said, 2 hours. And he said, oh no, it's impossible. And then he thought, and he said, well, come back in 2 hours, he said. And then we went to visit the monastery, the Sandupari, which is at Binocular Point, very beautiful old monastery. It was just so beautiful. I hear it's renovated, but gorgeous. And we spent part of the afternoon there, and then we went back to the shop, and as I arrived, he came and he said to me, the blessings of the Lama always come from inside, never from outside. And he took out an envelope, and he gave me some really old, almost decaying negatives, and this was one of them. So that's the story from the studio.
Yeah, that's true, really, this. This Om studio is quite well known that time in the 1960s, I remember. So when I'm writing in the little bit life story of His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche, I really like to have many photos, but I'm trying to find not so many old photos I found, really found. So I told to Lauren, she's going to India, pilgrimage, and going to Sikkim and all those places. So then I asked, so she found quite few photos, but this is the one of the best one. Best one.
Perfect.
From that.
One more question.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I just don't want you to stop. Story segment. You had even said tonight there was a certain point when you first connected with His Holiness, you didn't quite maybe see who he was at first, but then at a certain point your heart really opened and you had this great this whatever like devotion. What happened? Can you describe like what your experience was when you really began to recognize?
I mean, because I'm very kind of like, my nature is a kind of a little bit analytic individuals, really kind of always analytic, and that means maybe a little bit intellectual or kind of, but I'm not an intellectual. But kind of that thought, so I'm not really instantly connecting, kind of it takes a little bit slow process. But then I heard the life story of His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche, as Lauren said, that when I was young, maybe at 7 or 8 years old, I heard His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche from my father, and with the conversation with a very renowned Lama in our areas, and he's keep talking about His Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche, really, because this Lama in our area is very famous. Everyone you say that he is like regent and or emanation of Masambhava, very famous in our area, and he was Napa. His hair is like what's called like
Top knot.
not top knot. What's called?
A braided.
braided, like sometimes you saw these ngakpas, like they,
matted hair.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
The cord dreadlock.
like it like, looks like eagle nest,
Eagle nest.
Dreadlocks.
bird's nest, really. And his very kind of eyes around that. And one time he went to the pilgrimage in Lhasa, and my father was very devoted to him, and they also very good friend too in a way. So then he came back from the pilgrimage, and then he's visiting our areas. Every our villages are so excited he's coming, and they all preparing, and everyone is talking. Tomorrow we will see this great master, our teachers, all that, and then I was also really excited when I was young, kind of like now tomorrow we're going to someone so big and feasible, fancy, and then so all those kind of make story shorter. So then father went to see, and he told me to see this Lama. And when we got there, and then he did the respect and the pay homage and stayed. And then father is asking how's your pilgrimage and all that. As Annie Lauren said that's true. So he's asking, but he's not talking about the pilgrimage. He's talking about he's on the Dongyal Rinpoche. How wonderful, how beautiful, how special he is, all that. And then father don't know too much about Dongyal that time. And who is this Dongyal? He said, who is this Dongyal? He says he is really the region of Ngorpe Masamba this time. And then father said, how he looks like? He said he is not tall, he's not too short, he is just ngakwa, but his hair is not tied up, but he put like this way, what's called? Bun, and he is very knowledgeable, he's expert and all those things. So that's what really first time I heard that. And then gradually when we came to India, he's so famous. Every village, refugees are talking, Tibetans are talking about his Dongyal Rinpoche, and he's giving teachings of the Nyingma Kama and Tenma teachings and all that. So then I had the kind of gradually developed. So and then in the late 60s, then really I feel very strong connected. And then I went to so many times to see him and Rizzi teaching. And then I always thought, when a great master, as I said, he's a great teacher. And also in some, there's a prediction I saw, he was also predicted by Ngorpe Masamba. As they said, as the teaching said, as what he is, then I really feel very devoted, strongly. And I just become, that's it, really devoted. And I feel, I also feel that he is really truly like a regent or the representative of the Ngorpe Masamba. So I feel really devoted. So that is my kind of like highest point of the when I saw his on the Dongyal. Finally. Yeah, I feel. Okay. Okay.
All right. Dedication of merit. So nam di samche zikani tonne nebe drana pamje shin kiega namche balon trupayi sine sole trowa sho jambara bavo jidar kemba dang kuntu zambo teyan deshin de Deta kunji jesu dano shen Gewa deda kamche pravdum ho Gangri rawe kurve shenkansu Tapene dewa malu jungwe ne Chere zuwe tenze janso yi Jabe karje baradu tenjurje Nepa tongi longdo edembe so Sanje chuje me ozareki Dove yije mumbara sarva Nasorando shala sovale Kange nambara tarbe jiyone Joben tele dola yesomba Sume jedo tembe jansenje Zape tenjen zete do that in English, please? Om Swasti, by the blessings of the Vidyadhara, the very power of life, may Khenpo Tsewang Dongyal, who possesses the wealth of pure intention to accomplish the two aims, be gloriously surrounded by the three wheels of contemplation, practice, and noble activities. May his life be firm and long, gaining victory and dominion over the 10 directions for the great secret of Vajrayana. Sound like a prayer for all lamas? Lama Guru Lama Sovande, Chodu Kutse Lamar Sovande, Chinde Darje Lar Sovande, Lama Nandra Lame Barshengilo, Samling Jedi Yerokan Dardu, Nemo Sonsor Dumaram Metrak, Chojen Sona Bamjuru Kondula, Tadu Tashi De Bunso Sho. And then if you have the short prayer for the in English from Longchenpa. In all my lives, wherever I am born, may I attain 7 noble qualities of the higher realms. On being born, may I meet the Dharma and have the freedom to practice in the right way. Then, pleasing the Holy Dharma, may I practice the Dharma day and night. May I realize the Dharma and achieve this essential purpose. In that life, may I cross over the ocean of existence, teaching the Holy Dharma to the world. May I never tire of accomplishing the benefit of others, through the great wave of impartial benefit to others. May all beings attain Buddhahood together.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche. We're so happy to have had you for such a long time, and we were so fortunate. Through the misfortune of others, we were able to have you here, and we hope that you will return and spend even longer.
Yeah, at least 2 weeks next time, because you came 2 weeks this time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I just like to also thank you very much, really thank you very much, all beautiful hospitalities and kindness and compassion, your affections and your love, and thank you very much to all Sangha members of the Dorje Ling or Yeshinyamko Sangha members, and as well as Jumper. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, thank you. And Dennis, thank you so much, all your support, and thank you very much also Paul and his devotion, his commitment and friendship. We know so long, and thank you very much your all support, and also Pemasama Buddhist Center in Portland. And thank you very much also Ash and David, everyone's support and help to us to stay beautifully, comfortably in this beautiful city, in the city of roses. We really enjoy it. Thank you very much. And then also I like to thank you very much for all the gourmet food from my homeland, Sino land, Tibet. Thank you very much, Doma and her husband Clifford. They cooked so delicious food, really every day, and just one after another. That I never ate a Kungko serpent or the Kungko chili and the Kungko yerma and all that. And so she gave me everything now. Thank you so much. Really, thank you. Okay.
So next
And
year you have to stay 2 weeks.
Thank you. And thank you very much also to Derek and also Michelle and everyone really also, and Daniel, homemade support and help us to stay in this place again beautifully and comfortable. Thank you everyone, really thank you. Okay. Then I wish you all have the good health, joy, peace, happiness, lot of realization, lot of celebrations one after another. Really wish everything come good. Thank you. Okay. In that context of Again, see you next year. As you all said, thank you. Thank you very much. Really, thank you, everyone.
Rinpoche,
Oh, thank you.
Dorje Ling.